Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is WASD20. My name is Nate, and today we are playing some D&D. I have four awesome players who I'll introduce to you guys in a moment here, but today we're going to be playing The Oath of the Frozen King. This is a play test of an adventure kit from the company Absolute Tabletop. Absolute Tabletop currently has a Kickstarter going for Oath of the Frozen King. There is a link to that Kickstarter in the video description down below, so check that out. Go check out the Kickstarter for sure. It seems like a really cool product, and I got a version of the playtest along with a bunch of other DMs. There have been several versions, and yeah, that's what I'm using tonight for this adventure. I am joined by three right now, but soon to be four. We have a player who's running a little late, got stuck in traffic, so we are going to kick it off, and we'll get Matt caught up when he gets here. But I'm going to kick it to these guys to introduce themselves, and then we will introduce their characters a little bit more in the game. So, Jeremy, why don't you kick it off?
Hey everybody, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Jeremy, and I run the channel Black Magic Craft, where I show you how to make some cool stuff to wow your players and your home game. Today I'm going to be playing Hrothgar, a human barbarian, and you'll find more about him in a moment.
Yeah, Jeremy has a great crafting channel, so definitely check him out, Black Magic Craft. Why don't we go to JB?
I'm JB. I run Drop the Die on YouTube, Twitter, and I have a blog. I often do product reviews. I also do some DM tips and player tips. And I'm going to be playing the Silver Dragonborn, Ormjesternach Ravodorum. And I think you're going to like what I have in store.
Awesome. And I will be mostly be calling him Rav, because that's what or is it Rav? I don't know.
Rav's fine.
Okay, that's what you had in the doc as a nickname. So
just to keep you all sane for the night.
Thank you, appreciate that. All right, cool. And yeah, JB, I've been talking to you online and on Twitter for a while now, so it's great to have you in the game here. Let's go to Drake.
Hey guys, I'm Drake. I run the YouTube channel, The RPG Construct. I do a little bit of everything on there. A lot of live plays. Lately, a lot of tests, a lot of play tests for the Absolute Tabletop group. I'm also half of the podcast, Something RPG-ish, with my friend Jake Norman. That's just a lot of DMs, tips, tricks, and everything like that. But it's a lot of fun. I am playing Rufus Talbot, a Lightfoot Halfling Beastmaster Ranger. I have run the Oath of the Frozen King reskinned a few times, but never as a player. So I am definitely looking forward to it.
Very cool. And we do have Matt coming soon, Matt Martinez. Excuse me, will be joining us. Oh, and I put links to all the stuff these guys have mentioned in the video description as well, so you can check out their channels. I did not add a link to Something RPG-ish, Drake. I should do that after the game. I'll add that too. But we're going to jump right in here and get going. A fire crackles in the cold. Four bodies huddle around it in the pre-dawn darkness here in the frigid land of Leith. In a copse of trees near the towering volcano Winter's Tongue, we see their shapes. Asleep or awake, we don't know. They're trying their best to stay warm in the ice and snow, waiting for light so they can ascend the mountain to the tomb of the Frozen King. Only 2 days ago, they were prisoners in a wretched jailhouse in Varlith. The warden called them and said a rich foreigner had arrived seeking the four most dangerous prisoners for a very dangerous mission. This wealthy patron required discretion and had to operate outside his normal network, and so it falls on these four, tasked with obtaining an ancient rune blade, rumored to have slain the tyrant of old, known as the Frozen King. He provided a map to the Maw of Black Ice, the location of the tomb where the blade lies, entombed with its victim, the Frozen King himself. If they succeed, they have been promised their freedom and enough gold for some land and a fresh start. If they should live and fail, they'll be hunted to the ends of the earth with the aid of the patron's considerable resources. But back to the fire. Under a thick frost-encrusted hood, we see a face. Jeremy, what is under this hood?
You see this white hood made from the thick fur of a great white bear. The face raises up, and hands covered in thick scars pull the hood down. And you see below this white hood, hair similar to that of the bear itself, covering one half of this old man's face, the other half completely covered in burn marks and scars. And you see one eye completely closed from this horrible scarring. And this man reaches down and grabs a handful of snow and ice and lets it sift through his fingers. He looks up at his new traveling friends and says, "It's been too long, far too long, since I've been on frozen ground. Those years in that stone hole, I will never And he feels a rage burning inside him that he quickly suppresses as he puts his hood back on and goes back to poking the fire.
And JB, we turn to your direction.
Peace, Ruthgar. Peace. Everything is fine. This place does feel more like home. I cannot say that imprisonment suited me very well. You see that Ravodorum, who goes by Rav in most people's tongue, is a massive dragonborn. Pale gray eyes, silver and gray scales. He has frills along his jaw and the top of his head, with little horns that reach back to behind where his ears should be, all of them charcoal gray. He has a silver chain that runs from his left nostril to a frill along his right ear, or his left ear. He says, these lands can be very treacherous. I hope that we can make the journey easily enough.
And we now go over to Drake's character.
You would see a small halfling. Even as halflings go, Rufus is quite short. He's clad in just this studded leather worn armor, wearing a cloak that seems to be look of some type of some animal fur or something, but it's really difficult to make out what it is. You see him with a bow slung over his back and a small spear in his hand. You see him stand and just kind of look up at the sky and take a deep breath. Just, it's been a long time. And he looks to his left, and a wolf begins to walk towards him. He extends his left hand, and the wolf nuzzles up to him as he strokes its head. And he says, "Free at last, my friend. It is good to see you. Now let's get this done so we can be on our way."
And the last figure around the fire here, huddled, clearly shivering, trying to keep warm. Matt, welcome.
A little late, but better late than never, right?
No worries. What do we see as we look to your character?
Well, Rick kind of still shivering, kind of tries to shake himself off a little bit and kind of loosen up his muscles and starts to stretch and kind of gazes at his new, I guess, companions and kind of says, "Well, it could be worse. And I'm glad I have more than just myself this time." kind of exhales slowly and still tries to kind of warm himself up in the cold.
For someone keeping track of time, you would probably know that there's about an hour yet of darkness before the sun comes up. Sleep has been fitful. You've been taking turns doing watch, but really no one's sleeping that well anyway. It's too cold. The wind bites too much. So, one moment. You all hear the snapping of a twig coming from the slopes of the mountain. You slowly look around and you see these trunks of trees that have it's clearly been stuck with snow just to one side the way the wind has been blowing. The bark is just white on one side. Yet you see that bark start to move. There are some figures moving towards you. Roll initiative. You guys can go ahead and put your initiative in the chat there if you want. That's a good way for me to keep track. All right. That is going to make Matt first. Rinnick. You see these figures moving towards you. All you can see basically is they look like white shadows.
Okay, is there about how far away are they?
They are about 30 feet away.
Okay, I think I'm gonna try drawing my hand crossbow and see if I can try and get a bolt off in the first figure next to me.
Mm-hmm. As you rise, you notice that one of them is holding a club. Another one is carrying a dagger. You see other movement, but you can't see any more distinct shapes. But it looks like they're moving towards you with menace. So you let a crossbow loose. Go ahead and roll.
It's a 20.
Okay, that will hit.
Oh, thank God.
Damage.
It's a 7.
All right. You see this this figure with the club that is moving towards you with menace, and you strike him right in the shoulder, and he immediately leans back against one of the trees, kind of blending back in here, blending back into this whitened side of the bark of this tree. He doesn't cry out. Next up, we would have that would be Ruthgar.
So this old man still hunched over, one hand on a javelin in the snow, slowly stands up, and in the firelight you can see him hunched over. His back is big and he has horrible posture. But then suddenly you see him stretch and he rises to what looks to be like 7 feet tall. He looks across this space at these figures, breathes in deeply, lifts his javelin in the air, tosses it up, catches it, and lets loose for the first one in line with a 19 to hit.
Nate, you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am muted. I am the chronic muter.
Nothing changes.
That will hit.
That will hit. Okay, so this javelin flies through the night, doing 4 damage.
Okay. So, yeah, I imagine this is kind of a glancing blow, but it does strike this this humanoid creature in the leg and glances off, and it kind of clutches its leg, but it keeps limping towards you. It's holding this long curved dagger. And now it is their turn. And so the one that the one with the club is coming toward you, Rinnick, and it kind of runs up to you. You can see that it's wounded, but it runs up to you now, and it is going to swing its club at you in a wide arc, and it gets a 20 to hit. That will hit, and that is going to be 4 damage.
Okay. Dang.
And it connects. Next one is with the dagger, and it is going for it. It runs up to you, Hrothgar, and it will miss. And then 2 more come out now, and these 2 are going to be hurling hand axes at the other 2 now. First one will, let's see, 15. Oh, I had your guys' armor class written down and I moved it. There we go. That one for Drake will miss. Misses Rufus. So this hand axe goes flying over your head, I imagine. And the next one will also miss Rav. And now it is. Let's see. That would be Rufus's turn. Yep.
What's the terrain that we're standing on now, Nate? Like, what's around? We in forest? We in barren tundra? What am I seeing?
It's crunchy snow. It's just crunchy snow. It's not incredibly deep because of the trees around you. Okay. Once you get out of the trees, you can see up ahead. It gets real deep, but here it's just. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to use my movement to move 25 feet just away from the group, just kind of off there. I'm also going to send my wolf to attack the one that is right there in front of, I think it was in front of Hrothgar, and see if the wolf can take him. Then I'm going to aim a shot with my bow at the other one that is close. So the wolf is going to go first. That's going to be a 15 to hit.
That does hit.
Okay. Give me 1 second. The wolf is going to do 5 piercing damage, and it needs to make a DC 11 strength save. Or be knocked prone.
Does make the save. Okay. 15.
So it just, I imagine the wolf just kind of runs over there and just latches down on this guy's arm and just tries to pull him, but he resists. And then I'm going to loose an arrow at the other one. That's going to be 12 to hit.
That is a miss.
That is a miss. So I just imagine that he hasn't seen the wolf in so long. He's just focused on the wolf being being safe. His attention is up, and as he loses the arrow, he just barely misses it.
And how much damage did you say the wolf did?
5 piercing.
Okay. Next up, we have Rav.
So Rav spins and stands. He stands about 6'10", very imposing figure. This is most unwarranted. And I would like to move, if I can manage, to be between the 2 people who are attacking Rennick, and Ruthgar. And I'm going to hit one of them in the face, but I'm trying to position myself in a way so that if either of them swing, I can use my sentinel feet to lash out and punch one of them.
That sounds good. You can do that.
To try and get them to focus on me. So I'll just kind of crunch through the snow over there, and I'm going to punch. That is a 22.
That is a hit.
Right, that's going to deal 4 damage. And I'm going to use my bonus action to make another unarmed strike. And that's only going to be a 9.
That one misses.
So I come over and just drive my elbow into his nose, and when he backs up, my other fist completely misses. But I put myself in a nice position.
Awesome. And you said these are the which one are you hitting? The one that is engaged with
Rennick.
Rennick. Got it. Okay.
I'm more fearful of Rennick going down than I am Ruthgar.
Yeah. Good. So yeah, you land a blow like right in the gut, and this thing just it lurches over. As it looks up at you for the first time, you can see that these, I didn't describe these guys very well. They're wearing hide and skin, and it's just wrapped in patches all around them. Very rustic. This one, for the first time, looks up at you, and it bares its teeth, and its teeth are crooked, filed, sharp, and it just kind of hisses at you. It looks inhuman.
I grin back. Ugh.
And you can see, there's blood in its mouth now from your strike. You've done some damage. All right. Next up, I think we are back to Rennick.
Okay, and so out of the one that's next to me, how far is the other one away?
So I would imagine that the other one that is engaged with Ruthgar, let's just say 10 feet.
10 feet? Okay. So I'll go ahead and I'll kind of tosses aside his crossbow, being that they're kind of closer now, draws his rapier, and attempts to kind of move behind the one closest to him and try to get that that double advantage for assassination. There you go, sneak attack. There you go.
Okay, so are you disengaging with the one that is engaged with you?
I'm gonna try to get around him, like to the back of him.
So I'm not quite sure how that works, but my impression is that would provoke an opportunity attack since he is facing you and engaged with you.
Then I'll just stand.
Rennick actually doesn't have to move because I'm standing next to him. So you're good from where you are.
Oh, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then just due to my assassination, I can also do a it's the advantage on the attack rolls, correct?
Well, I'm not sure if you would have that. I think you could do the assassinate, but you could not do sneak attack here because sneak attack would involve you, I believe, hiding. But let me look up the road page.
Yeah, I'm thinking about assassinate. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Okay. I'm not sure how that works, but
Nate, the rule is as long as the creature's attention is to someone else, he can sneak attack.
Okay.
Assassinate requires a surprise round.
Right, exactly. Sneak attack he can do. He can't assassinate right now.
Cool.
Okay, so now
we'll go with that. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead and roll hit then. And it's a natural 20.
All right. So that is definitely going to hit. And you can go ahead and roll your damage die twice. Actually, you know what? Let's just do this for the night. If you guys are cool with it, and the enemies will do this too, go ahead and roll add your modifiers, and then double all of it. That cool?
Sounds good. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good to me.
Good.
Okay, so I got 14 then.
Yeah,
14
you
damage.
Completely eviscerate this guy. What does this look like as you just obliterate him with your rapier?
So Rennick kind of draws his rapier and with a solid thrust, just countless amounts of strikes, piercing the the thing in front of him, just almost poking him full of holes as if he was a pincushion, and then let off his blade.
Yeah, awesome. And Rav, I imagine as you are watching this, you just see this snarling face that's at you. The eyes all of a sudden just widen even more. And I imagine there's just a big hack of blood right your direction as he just falls to the ground, poked absolutely full of holes.
Oh, very good.
And Rav, it is now your turn.
You sure about that?
Oh, wait, no, that's not right. That is not right. We would go with Rufus.
Thematically, that was perfect. But no.
I lost my initiative order here. I
believe
Rufus
that's
next.
me.
Yep.
Mhm.
Or not Rufus, Ruthgar.
Ruthgar.
There we go. We were joking before in the chat that we've got four names that start with R.
And none of us planned it. Nobody planned it.
They're just like, these guys just hate me.
No, it sounds like a tundra name, right?
But Ruthgar is big, capital R. So Ruthgar looks at this little sniveling creature in front of him, looks over to the one dead on the ground beside him. I think that look would be good on you. And he reaches back and he pulls out this large double-sided battle axe and just goes to chop this thing's head clear off. And this thing is so small compared to him that in a fit of fury, he just swipes right over his head.
All right. Next up, we have Rufus. Oh, I'm sorry. Next up, we actually have these cultists here. They are. So the two that were in the further in the copse of trees are now moving out. They have another axe each in their hands, and they are moving up to engage with Ruthgar and Rav. And they run up. They are also baring their teeth. The first one lunges at you, Ruthgar, but I imagine that you just sidestep in this and trip this thing, and it goes flying. The next one runs up to who else did I say? I lost it. Rav, thank you. And he is also going to miss. So he swings at you, and you parry his blow easily. And there's one more that is engaged with, I believe it is engaged with, who was it engaged with?
Ruthgar.
Thank you. And that one will miss as well. All right. So there are three cultists now engaged with you guys, and it is now Rufus's turn.
I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to send the wolf over to the one that is closest to us first. That's going to be a 14 to hit.
That is a miss.
Okay. Then I will, again, loose an arrow at that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a natural one, critical fail.
Bummer.
So do you want to narrate that, Nate, or would you like me to say what happens?
If you want to, you absolutely can.
Well, how bad do you want it, boss?
Oh, it doesn't have to be terrible. I usually do, like, you drop a weapon, or you hit an ally with a glancing blow, or
yeah. I think that's what's going to happen. He's shooting at this one that is engaged with this large barbarian, but he hasn't shot in so long since he's been a prisoner. He shoots just off, and it glances off of Ruthgar's giant ass, and just a little and he just kind of looks up and goes, sorry.
One. You get one.
Awesome. All right. I'm gonna be mean here. Okay, I rolled a d4, and Ruthgar, you take 1 piercing damage.
I said one.
You called it. All right, awesome. Next up, we have Rinnick.
Alrighty, and I'm gonna move to the next closest one to me. Just try to get that one out of the way too. So I would just kind of quickly run towards the closest one and just try to take him down as quick as possible. So I'll go ahead and go for a hit then. Let's see here. I got a 17.
That is a hit.
Okay, perfect. That's a 6.
All right. I think the nearest one to you is one that had already been hit. So you once again take one down. How does this look?
So basically, unlike the last time, I would try to go for a face-to-face encounter. So Rick kind of still with his blade, quickly the piercing strikes again, this time from the top to the bottom, from face to sternum, as fast as possible, dealing as much damage as he can, as quick as he can.
Awesome. And Drake, you just typed the initiative in the chat, and I'm sorry, I didn't write it down the first time. I'm a little rusty when it comes to running games online here without my initiative cards. So did I skip somebody? Because I had Rinnick. Oh, I see. I had Rinnick written down twice. I did write it down. Rinnick, Ruthgar, Rufus, and then Rinnick. All right.
You can do it.
I'll get this, guys. I can run some D&D. If you guys wouldn't make characters that all start with R, we'd be great. No, I'm kidding. All right.
Sure, he blames us.
Yeah, it's all on me. All right. Next up, we go to. So yeah, I think we did skip Rav then. I think we did.
It's all good.
Okay.
So
Rav.
I have this moment where I'm wiping blood off of my face from where the guy just spat it at me and flick it off into the snow. Gross. I'll turn and I see that only 2 are left standing. One of them is at Ruthgar and the other is nearing Ruthgar, kind of standing in the middle with this huge wolf looming next to it. And I'm going to try and help out my wolf friend because in my mind, Ruthgar can handle anything. So I break away, run across the snow, and I'm going to rush in and try to punch at this gentleman in his turned back. 15?
That is a hit.
Aha!
That's the number you need.
That's going to be 6 damage. And then I'm going to use my bonus action to make an additional unarmed strike. It's going to be 15 again. For another 6 damage.
Awesome. All right. So this thing, you get one hit on it, and then it lunges at you, and it's got its teeth bared. And now this thing's trying to bite you, but you just, what do you do to kill this thing?
I would drop my head down and headbutt it in the chin. And as it starts to reel backwards, finish it by hitting it in the chin and driving its head upwards. Just collapses down into the snow.
Yeah, you feel the crunch of this thing's neck as its head is just launched backwards. And yeah, it almost does a flip, and it just crumples.
You have much to learn.
All right, that brings us to now. So we had, I skipped Rav and went to Rinnick. So now we will go to Ruthgar, who is second in our initiative order.
Getting frustrated by being outshone by a lizard, Ruthgar again raises his great sword and this time tries to strike straight down on this creature before him. And that is a 16 to hit.
That is a hit.
Okay, and that will do 11 damage.
All right, so you absolutely crush this thing. You kill it. How does this look?
So this axe just cleaves this thing right in two, but gets stuck somewhere on the hips. And Ruthgar lets go of his axe, grabs these 2 flaps of head, rips them open, reaches in, and pulls out his axe again.
Awesome. All right, sweet. You guys hear, now that these four are down, you guys hear in the woods the sound of a struggle, and you hear a cry, just a "Rah!" off in the trees, just out of sight. What do you do? We're out of initiative order.
I rush headlong towards the screaming.
Okay. What you would see, Rav, as you approach is a man and a horse. And the man is on the ground in the snow on his knees. And he looks like he's struggling with something beneath him.
I would most certainly rush over to see what he's struggling with.
You see a mess of a face, blood. It's another one of these cultists. And this man has just crushed it. It's dead. He gets up and he turns around and he says, "That wasn't supposed to happen. I was just on my way home."
Very few things that happen are not meant to be. You are safe. That is what's important.
He stands up. The man has reddish hair, a reddish patchy beard, pretty bright. And he's wearing leather armor, a grayish cloak. And he's clutching his neck, and there's blood. You notice a bite mark. He says, "You got me too. It's not good."
How bad does it actually look?
It looks like it's not terrible. It's bleeding a bit, but it's not. Didn't hit an artery or anything. It's just.
I'll kind of
like
gently,
worse.
I'll gently reach up and kind of turn his chin and look at it. And I'll be like, "Should make for a nice scar. I believe you are fine. Keep pressure." Kind of tear off a piece of cloth and stick it to his neck.
When you first reach out, he definitely flinches. But he realizes that you mean no harm. He noticed that you were engaged with some of these cultists too, so he knows you're not with them. He says, What are you all doing here? What brings you to these parts?"
"Friends, I found another person." I kind of cry back to all of them.
Rufus would have followed the monk and probably stayed about 10 feet away, just taking it all in, just listening. And when he said, who are you, or what are you doing here?" he would respond with, you tell us first. What are you doing here?"
Of course. My name is Siegfried. I am a member of the Varnholm Sentinels. I suppose now I'm the de facto leader of the Sentinels. There aren't many of us left. I patrol these parts. Lately, it's become increasingly dangerous. And he kicks the corpse next to him.
Rufus would look at the Dragonborn. "Dangerous," he says.
"Ugh, more dangerous than rabbit, less dangerous than us. Things happen. But do you know who these are, my unnamed friend?" I'll kind of like bring his horse over to the whole little group.
And as you get to back to the spot, Ruthgar has actually been listening a little bit to this conversation, but he's been picking off the clothing from one of these creatures that's on the ground, stripping it down to see what lies underneath.
Thick skin, It looks stony almost. It looks human.
And Rithgar sees this, and he looks at his own hand covered in thick bark-like scars, and he looks somber for a moment, and he closes this thing's eyes and covers its face with some snow.
Its eyes, as you get closer, you notice they're steely blue, almost whitish blue. And they're lifeless. And so, yes, you close the eyes and cover it up with some snow. And Siegfried says, "Now, before I tell you more about these, what about you? I told you about myself. What brings you here?"
I think you heard them, Rufus.
Rufus had just knelt down to one knee and just started kind of petting his wolf. He's really not paying attention to the conversation right now, so he wouldn't even hear you.
I turned to Rinnick. You heard him, Rinnick. Drag Rinnick over.
And Rinnick's just kind of like looking around as apprehensively as like, I have no idea what's going on. He was more concerned about the body looking almost a stony, scaly looking flesh, and he wasn't really concerned with what the man with Siegfried was even talking about. He looks at you, looks back at Rabbit, he says, You should tell him. Definitely tell him why we're here. I think everyone wants to know why we're here.
And Ruthgar just sighs, and he raises up and stands and walks over to Siegfried, puts a large hand on his shoulder. "My friend, we are just 4 lost souls looking for peace, freedom, and a new life in this hellish land."
Judging by your tracks, you are headed the wrong direction for that. And he kind of looks around nervously. Sorry, I thought I heard something.
You are safe with us. No worries.
So you know these parts. You say we're going in the wrong direction. What are we heading towards? That's so bad.
This is the Maw of Black Ice, just up that pass there. We Sentinels, we guard the Tomb of the Frozen King, and there has been an awful lot of activity around here lately. And he looks down at the cultist. Them and more. It's just a very dangerous place, as evidenced by the thinning of our ranks.
So if a group wanted to get into that tomb, you would be a good guide, wouldn't you say?
I can point you to the direction, but the tomb is not very hard to get into from what I hear. I have been near the entrance. Like I said, it is right up that pass. I cannot take you there. My wife is with child. I have been gone a week. I must get provisions to her quickly. But it shouldn't be more than an hour up that pass.
And then I think Rinnick would kind of silently slide up next to Siegfried and say, "You've already been gone a week. What's 1 more hour? It wouldn't take much time off your hands if you stay, say, 30 minutes halfway. What about halfway up and just kind of, just why don't you just be a friend with us? I mean, we're all taking a lovely stroll. Why don't you just enjoy a lovely stroll too? We just saved your life after all. I think you owe us."
I don't believe that happened.
He could have, if he would have not obviously taken him down himself. We would have been there.
Arguing amongst ourselves will get us nowhere. We have a job to do. Let the man deliver his provisions. He said it was easy to get to the tomb. That is where we are headed. That is where I am going.
And Rithgar would look at this man and say, friend, if your wife is with child, take it from somebody who knows. That is your first and only priority. And I feel you must revel in this luck that you've had. You've been saved this day, and perhaps you should head home as quickly as possible and leave the danger to us.
Thank you, friends. Truly, it is appreciated, and I wish you the best. I will be back in this region in a few days' time. What is it you seek in this place?
We seek the rune blade that was buried with the Frozen King.
You would get that halfway out, and the wolf would actually just look at you and just
back at it.
And as that happens, and the wolf for a moment silences Rav, Rithgar looks up at Siegfried and just says, freedom. We are seeking freedom, a better life, nothing more, nothing less. That is all you need to know. And as I said, you should head home quickly before I change my mind about you.
His eyes kind of brighten when Rav says something about gets his statement halfway out, we should say, and they stay wide as you all are speaking. And he says, "Yes, I will be on my way." He kind of tosses his red hair and swings himself up onto his horse. And
I'll tighten the straps of his saddle, and I'll kind of say up to him, "Forgive them. They trust no one. This place is unforgiving enough."
Of course. It is nothing. And listen, if you are looking for a new life, as you can see, the Varnholm Guard is in need of assistance. I'll be back. Maybe I will catch up with you again.
Question. If we meet any of your companions, and I'm kind of like patting his horse on the flank, do you have a way to express friendship among your people, these sentinels of Varnholm?
I suppose, well, we usually raise our right arm as we approach, high in the air, as high as we can. And if you tell them that you met Siegfried, that should be good enough.
That is very well. Goodbye, my friend.
Goodbye, and good luck. And he kind of trots off. You notice as he rides off, his horse is not looking good. You can see ribs in this horse.
And I think as he leaves, Rennick kind of sighs to himself and looks at the group and says, "If we needed a human shield, we just lost it. Thanks." And then kind of sulks away towards the trees.
That is very good. Human shields are expensive and hard to grow.
I already have the only shield I need. And Rithgar raises his big wooden shield and starts heading up towards the path.
The only ones that are going to die are the ones who stand between us and our freedom. Let the man go. He has a life. He has a family. Something that none of us have anymore. Let's go to the tomb.
Rennick kind of sighs again and says, "Well, lead the way."
You guys have been very well equipped by this wealthy patron. He's given you snowshoes, and you'll need them here. So as you strap those to your feet, and you begin coming out of the forest now, this copse of trees. The snow gets deeper. There are big drifts. The wind is biting, and you walk up this mountainside, kind of taking switchbacks between two peaks in the direction that Siegfried has pointed you. As you walk, snow coming at you sideways, biting through. You've been well equipped, but there is no amount of clothing or equipment in the world that can truly save you from the bite of this frigid wind. You see up ahead a very narrow ice bridge, essentially, and an opening in the side of the mountain up ahead. It looks, if you squint your eyes, like a mouth opening. You can almost make out eyes in the ice, and you start to see these veins of blackish ice mixing and kind of swirling with the rest of the ice. You approach this icy bridge, and what do?
I think Rufus would kind of take the lead here, being the smallest and the most familiar probably with this terrain. He would send the wolf first, but he would be really paying attention to the ground, trying to figure out if this is something that we can get across. If him and his companions can get across.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and make a, I don't know what would be best here, maybe a survival check?
Or nature, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
nature, yeah.
That's going to be an 18.
Yeah, so you're, kind of testing the ground here. You're maybe looking at it sideways and trying to get a feel for its thickness and structure, and it seems very sound.
Then I would send the wolf across.
And before the wolf were to leave, Rithgar would approach Rufus and ask him, "My friend, would you be offended if I were to see through your wolf's eyes as he crosses this bridge?"
If you have that ability, go ahead.
And he nods his head, and he starts making some hand motions and speaking quietly in a tongue that is unfamiliar to all of you. And he's going to cast beast sense as a ritual and see and feel what the wolf is feeling. And you see his eyes roll in the back of his head and just go stone white as he stands in this trance.
We're basically sending the wolf ahead to scout, Nate.
Yep, awesome. You see through the wolf's eyes 2 corpses at the mouth of this cave that you could not see from before. They're in the shadow. They look, they're wearing the gray cloak. They're dressed very similar in the same armor as Siegfried. And they look chewed up. They look awful. You see fresh footprints with blood as well. The footprints sort of disappear into the cave.
What do you see?
So Rithgar standing there, eyes peeled back, still. More bodies, more blood on the snow. fresh. It appears somebody didn't make it. Perhaps we should proceed with caution. And his eyes roll back into focus as he breaks this trance.
Well, I think maybe I should cross first. If the bridge gives way, I weigh the most of all of us. I would be most apt to not die from fall.
I think Rinnick chuckles. Rinnick would chuckle and say, I would be most apt if you were to fall first as well. And then kind of slinks back to the end of the line.
I think we would all kind of chuckle at that and just, even without saying anything, just be like, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. I have my hands on my hips. Yes, I would be apt to fall first. Forward.
So as you walk across, it feels sturdy. There's no creaking. The wind is a little bit unsettling on this narrow bridge, but it's not enough to push you. You just kind of, steel yourself against it, and
it seems fine. Fine.
avalanche. No, I'm kidding.
I think following him, Rufus would probably get across next. And probably go a little bit further ahead, just trying to catch up with his wolf.
Yeah, and the wolf is just kind of sniffing around these bodies and footprints. But you both, feel no hesitation. If you all wanted to walk across now to the opening of the cave, you would be able to do that. Again, it's a little, unsettling if you're afraid of heights, but it's manageable.
After you, Rinnick, I will watch from behind to make sure nothing comes up.
Rinnick kind of slinks onto the bridge and looks back at Rothgar and kind of slight bows, and then trots across the bridge as fast and yet as delicate as possible, still fearing the bridge might somehow crack underneath his weight.
I'm standing at the far end. Come on, come on.
And you'll see Ruthgar. You can tell that he is trying to look very tough and very strong, but anyone paying attention will see the fear in his eyes and a slight shake as he sees this expansive space below him, and he is not quite comfortable, so he walks lightly and slowly and reminds himself of the patience of the bear waiting at the stream for the fish, 1 foot after the next, until he finally reaches the other side.
All right, good. So you guys have made it across. You're at the mouth of the cave. The bodies look old. It's hard to tell. They're frozen solid. But the footprints are not covered in snow. And the blood is still reddish. As you look into the mouth of the cave, you can see the footprints kind of going straight ahead. Whereas there are kind of a lot of footprints around here. They move into a single file in the next space. And as you glance inside, you notice it's the black ice that has kind of been veins up to this point is now more solidly black in this space. The walls are shiny. There's a glint, and it feels very cold.
The tracks that we're following, do they look like they had snowshoes or just regular footprints?
Just regular footprints, sort of,
And we did see the cultists did not have snowshoes as well, correct?
Correct.
We may have more of those people waiting in here.
Would Rufus kind of put two and two together? Did the tracks match those of the cultists that they already killed? Being a ranger.
Yeah, no, I think you would easily see that they do. Yeah, I don't think you even need to roll for that.
So I think that he would absolutely, tell everybody, goes, obviously these tracks match those of the ones that we just killed. There's obviously more of them. Siegfried said that most of his company was killed lately. We should tread lightly. We should scout ahead. We should not rush in. And with that, he just beams a glare over to the barbarian. Patience.
Yes, patience is good.
All right, so these footprints are here. The room is kind of roundish. It's uneven, jagged walls. Floor is hard packed snow and ice for the most part. Some of the blackish ice mixed in. How do you guys proceed?
I think having traveled with everyone up to this point, we would all have kind of a good vibe on where people are best positioned. And I think that Ravodorum would absolutely be leaning heavily on Rufus right now. And be like, well, how should we go? Quiet? Loud? You tell me.
We know that more of those things are around. We know that they're powerful enough to kill trained men. We know that this was recent. We should be quiet. We should be stealthy. You should let me go ahead. Let my wolf go ahead. We will let you know what we see. But I have a much better skills when it comes to hiding.
That is very
Perhaps
true.
those as large as you two might want to hang back. I will report what I find. Have some faith.
Very well, friends. And Rithgar will actually put his white hood back up so that he is mostly garbed in this hide of a polar bear, hoping to blend in as best as he can with his icy surroundings.
And Rufus would just proceed ahead very cautiously, very slowly, trying to stay in the shadows if there are any, just kind of scouting ahead to see what he can see.
Go ahead and make me a, what would it be? Probably perception check.
$21.
Okay, so you notice as you take a couple steps, the floor begins to shift a little bit. It feels unsteady.
What do you mean by unsteady? Like it's mushy, or it feels
like it actually has just gone a little bit.
It's kind of like thin ice, like that kind of a feel.
A little bit, almost like if you were walking across big boulders and one of them shifted, like it wasn't, the friction. It wasn't really resting on a steady boulder.
Okay. I would sling my bow over my back, and I would actually take my spear, and I would just jab at it and just see if anything happened. Just kind of testing it, like each time a little bit harder.
The floor in front of you completely collapses. Go ahead and make a dexterity save.
2.
You disappear from the view of your companions, and I'll let you decide if your wolf would have been with you in that. or
The wolf would have been a little bit ahead, so yeah, he would fall with me.
yeah. So pretty much the second half of this room, the whole floor has just collapsed, and it starts where Rufus is, but then it just slowly shattering ice, big blocks of ice fall down, and Rufus, actually all of you should now roll initiative. This time I'm going to write it down proper. All right, so we've got Ruthgar. Then we've got JB is Rav. Then we've got Drake, which is Rufus.
Just type it out for you.
And thank you. Perfect. All right. And Rufus, you are face to face with, at the bottom of this pit, a low floor that leads ahead into a cave. It's pretty dark here, but you can make out a big shape moving in front of you. And I imagine your wolf companion starts to whine and probably snarl a little bit. It senses it too.
Does this thing know that I'm here? I mean, does it look like it's attacking? Is it coming towards me?
It's lurking in the shadows. It looks like it's I'll just say it's been waiting to see what just fell.
Okay, then I would
I guess I should say I don't think that Ruthgar and Rav would probably do much. I mean, maybe they would run over and see, and you guys probably wouldn't be able to see much in your turn.
I would say that seeing this floor start to collapse and my friend disappear, Ruthgar, without hesitation, would charge forward and just run full speed and just jump and just lunge right into this hole.
Okay, yeah. So you got
I can imagine that Rav would like try to stop him, and then you just bowl through and keep going.
Yep. I dig it. So yeah, your arms just kind of like, it's like me trying to tackle a linebacker where it's just, nope, the momentum is not in my favor here, nor is the size. So anyway, sure. So Ruthgar and Rufus are both face to face now with this big shape. You can't tell what it is yet, but it's a big shape. And yeah, so I guess it would be Ruthgar's turn. You've used your move, we'll say.
And this shape is still a fair distance away from us.
Yeah, it's probably about 20 feet in the shadows ahead of you, and it's pretty dark in here. It was dark in the room you were in, yeah. And now you're down below, and it's much darker.
So Ruthgar lands on his feet, and Rufus just feels the floor shake again, and he looks at this shape in front of him, and he looks at Rufus. The time for patience is over, my friend. It is the time for the bear. And he just, and he's just going to enter a rage and be prepared for whatever's about to come next.
Awesome. All right. And now it is Rufus's turn.
I think Rufus's courage would be kind of steeled by having this barbarian jump down. He's a third of the size of this thing. And I think he would know just from the reaction of the wolf that this was bad and that something would need to happen. And I think he would draw back with his bow, and he would loose an arrow at this thing's head, or where he think this thing's head would be. Oh, jeez. There you go. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
I can't.
Well, it was that. It was a natural one.
Oh man.
Apparently, I'm not rolling well. So, yeah, why don't you narrate this one, Nate?
Yeah. So I imagine that your, you know what? I think your crossbow string breaks.
That's not cool, dude.
I don't know how you feel about that, but that's what I'm thinking.
I suppose I haven't used it. We've been a prisoner for so long. I haven't been able to oil it and keep it. So when I pull back, I just pull back too far and just snap. And with that sound, that creature would probably know where it came from and turn towards us.
Yep. And it is this creature's turn. And in front of you, you see a huge creature that is just kind of got this rocky looking skin, similar to the cultists, actually. But it's got this long, greasy, dreaded black hair, and it's wielding a huge club. And it's going to swing in Rufus's direction and lunge forward. And that is a 15 to hit, which for Rufus does not hit. All right, so its club slams, and I imagine you just kind of nimbly dodge out of the way.
All right. How far away would this creature or thing be from me?
So you would be able to make it into the pit. You can hear a scuffle, but if you wanted to jump down, I mean, it's about 20 feet down. So I would say, you're not gonna
exhaust my movement.
Yeah.
I mean, I think based on the sounds that Rennick is hearing, he's not afraid, but he's more curious as what's going on. He doesn't, because it doesn't really sound like battle. He hears like a snap and then all of a sudden like just pounding of movement. So he assumes it's the giant Ruthgar, and he's like, well, they must be having fun without me. And so he leaps and charges into the pit, and upon landing in the pit, he sees this creature, and he instantly regrets his decision, definitely. But unsheaths his blade again and tries to make a quick blow as he did with the others.
All right, so yeah, this creature has just slammed its club down, and as soon as the club slams down, you land and you lunge at it, and you can go ahead and make an attack roll.
It's a 5.
All right, so yeah, that does miss. This thing's hide is just too thick to be pierced with your rapier. Next up, we have Ruthgar.
Ruthgar just charges, a few steps forward and raises his axe and lets out a roar that sounds far more bear-like than human, and he just tries to connect with this thing with his axe. Does I'm guessing a 13 is a miss?
That is indeed a miss. All right, so now we are to Rav.
So Rav kind of walks to the hole, and he puts his foot onto the wall and kind of pushes his weight onto it to make sure that his spider climb slippers still work. And he walks along the wall over the top of this hole, and he has extra movement, far more than everyone else. So he's going to try to position himself above this creature and then jump down on it.
That is awesome. I hope this works out for you.
All right. Would you like an attack roll, acrobatics, or what?
Let's do acrobatics.
All right. Acrobatics, that is a 17.
All right, so with the 17, I'm going to say I feel like you would be able to, you would definitely drop onto this creature. it's big enough. It's a big enough target. I feel like you would probably do some fall damage to this creature, so I feel like maybe I would just deal some fall damage. Is that cool?
Sure. Yeah.
So just a d6. Let's do
1d6 is a 5.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, you just launch onto this thing, and you're heavy enough. You know, you're a dragon.
325 pounds.
Yeah, where you know I'm imagining your knee digging into this thing's back a little bit, and just. So,
I kind of land beside it, and I say, "Do not ignore me."
Awesome. And it does not. It kind of glowers at you. And yeah, now it is Rufus's turn.
Well, having having broken my bow, I'll just kind of cast it aside. And seeing that this creature has been engaged, again, I would send the wolf forward, trying to attack this creature. It's going to be a 19 to hit for the wolf.
Definitely a hit.
Okay, 3. He's going to do 8 piercing damage. And I am going to use my spear and lunge at this thing. That's going to be a 17 to hit.
Also a hit.
And he is going to lunge with it, but I also took the feat Polearm Master. So he's going to lunge and try to pierce it, but then he's going to take the back end and try to use the back end to hit as well. So be 3 plus 1. So that's going to be 9. 9 damage total, 6 piercing, 3 bludgeoning with the back end. I can't hear you, Nate.
We did 8 damage with the wolf, and now what's the total for the
9? So a total of 15 between both of them.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So yeah, this thing, you know, it is pierced, it is bleeding, its blood runs red, you know, a dark red. And it once again cries out. And now it is its turn.
Some white stuff on it.
This creature kind of tosses back its greasy mop of black hair, and it's glowering at Rav, and it is going to now swing its club in that direction. It's down on the ground still, and it just tries to sweep its big club toward Rav. And that will be a 19 to hit.
Hits.
And that is going to be 10 bludgeoning damage.
Oh.
And yeah, now we go to and it actually, you know, this thing glowers at you, but now it looks right back at I believe it was
Ruthgar?
Yeah, Ruthgar, and it's readying another attack, but it's not lunging yet. And now we go to Rinnick.
Okay, I'm gonna proceed forward again. Rinnick's gonna try to do another attack with his rapier, try to kind of make up for the foolish attempt he did last time. So we're gonna go here, and he misses again. He rolled a 3. So I kind of think that he goes up to make the hit to kind of more showful this time, just to kind of show everyone that he can still hit something, but slips because of the ice. He's still not used to the icy weather, and completely misses and ends up hitting air, essentially.
Yep. All right. Very good. And now it is Ruthgar's turn.
Ruthgar again, just getting absolutely furious that he did not connect on the last blow attempt. He's going to swing with all of his strength at this thing for a 20 to hit. I assume, please tell me 20 hits.
That does.
And he's going to do 11 plus 8. He's going to do 19 damage to this thing with his great axe.
All right. This thing, you slice right through its belly, I imagine, and it's losing blood quickly. It's losing more than just blood at this moment, and it stumbles back against the wall, and it's starting now. Its anger is turning to fear. Its long nose is hiding this sneer, but its eyes show fear. And now it is Rav's turn.
So it sweeped this huge cudgel around, almost touching the ice, and it slammed into the side of my leg and nearly toppled me over, but luckily I managed to keep to my feet. And as it slams against the wall, all this gore kind of coming out of it, I'll run to the side to make sure that I'm not standing between Ruthgar and his target. And I draw this short sword from my back, like along where my belt would go. And I say, I did not want to kill today. And I'm going to slash out with a sword for 14 versus AC.
That does not hit.
Okay. And then I slam the sword into the wall and try to drive my elbow into its side. And that is a 15 plus 5.
That does hit.
That's going to be max 7 damage.
All right. Explain to me how your elbow kills this thing.
So there's this gaping wound along its side, and it's kind of clutching onto it with its free hand. It still has its cudgel in its other. And when I run over, I miss with the sword, but it brings up the hand to block me. And when I drive the elbow into its side, I hear the crunch of a rib. And when the rib gives way, everything comes pouring out. It stumbles forward and then...
Yep. Absolutely. It's just losing too much blood and entrails, and it stumbles forward, and it towers to the ground, and you all, you're able to get out of the way. But as this thing slams to the ground, some of the walls and the floor above you falls, and I do need everyone to make me a dexterity saving throw, as chunks of ice are now falling down. The number you're going for is a 13. All right, so it looks like Rinnick will be hit with 5, and the rest of you managed to avoid, but 5 bludgeoning damage as chunks of ice glance off your back, I imagine, Rinnick.
Yeah, Rinnick's still not used to this snowy weather, so he tries to avoid and tries to spin, but again, slips and the ice just pelts him.
Awesome. All right, you guys are at the bottom of this pit. A dead, icy-looking troll lies in front of you, entrails spilled out on the ground. What do you want to do? There is an opening ahead of you in the darkness.
I think
and there's the opening above you.
Rufus would turn to his companions and say, does anyone have fire? This thing will not stay dead unless we burn it. You don't want this thing coming behind us. Can anyone conjure fire or make fire or rub 2 sticks together? I don't care. Burn this thing.
I can start a fire.
Do it.
While I'm getting out the stuff to kind of start this small fire to light this thing, I'll kind of glance over and look at Rinnick. I know he's been hurt a couple of times today. And I say, are you all right?
Rinnick gets back up and after being pelted with the ice and brushes himself off and says, I've been better. This has definitely not been my day.
Well, if you don't think that you can go forward, there is no harm in waiting until you feel more apt to do so. We should not be foolish.
And Riddick kind of chuckles again. He looks at Rav and he says, "There's nothing more exciting than being about to die, and this is all fun for me right at this point. I think I can definitely continue, but I'll definitely try to be more careful, especially in this snowy weather."
You are a strange little bird. You talk a lot, cheep, 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 but I like. You are very fun. And I'll kind of wrap together 5 or so torches with part of my rope, about half, until it makes this big, huge kind of flaming torch that's easily lit with a tinderbox. And then I'll hand it to Rufus since he asked for one. This is best I can do, short notice.
Well, it's what we have. And Rufus would begin at his wound, and he would jam it into his chest where that rib, where everything just kind of came out. And he would jam this torch in there and just, make sure that it lights. And Nate, when it lights and everything starts to burn, what happens to this thing? What does it look like? What do we hear?
As soon as the flames touch this thing, the arm, I imagine you start with its arm, and it starts to shake, quiver, and it actually starts to like pound the ground a little bit. And but the flames consume it, and it eventually the quivering stops, and it smells terrible. It smells like nothing you've ever smelled before, and it's just nauseous, and it fills this little pit, and it's burning. It's smoking like crazy, and the smoke is just black.
Then I think I would urge everyone to head towards that opening, that little tunnel that you were telling us about.
Oh, that is terrible.
And Ruthgar will chuckle a little bit. Weak stomachs. And he'll reach into a pouch on his belt and pull out some dried meat and just start eating it as he walks forward.
I just keep snorting, and you see a little bit of like even more frosty kind of air jutting from my nostrils. God, I will go first. Get me out of here.
So you guys walk ahead, and in the tunnel ahead, you can, it is lit by this flaming corpse still, although somewhat dimmed by the black smoke. You walk ahead, and eventually it starts to slope up, and you come out at the end of a chasm. And as you look back, you can see where you started. You can see the chasm that you've all fallen down. But you are now in a different room. It veers to the left, another corridor, jagged, uneven stalagmites coming down. Do stalagmites come down or up? I don't remember.
They might fall from the ceiling, I think.
Anyway,
you're the DM, whatever you want in this world.
There's these jagged, pokey, icy things
The way
sticking
that I've
from the
always remembered
ceiling.
it, stalactites have a T and they come from the top. Stalagmites from the bottom.
Awesome. Those things. And so, and the walls are uneven and jagged too. And you continue on, and you see ahead of you an altar. A flat altar. And on the altar, there are 2 icy claws clenching a blade. And we are going to take a break. 5 minutes.
Cool, dude.
Go ahead.
No, you know what's really, really cool about this? Having run this game, everything that you're doing is nothing like I did. So it's still brand new to me. That's the beauty of this adventure kit. It's whatever you want it to be. And it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, dude, I'm having a blast.
Well, good. Thanks. I'm glad you guys are having fun. I am definitely having a blast. It's been way too long since I've done this. So I'm going to go tinkle. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out in the chat. We got 60 viewers right now, which is awesome. And we're going to take a short little break here. I'll be right back.
And I am going to give you something a little better to look at. Just look at these beauties. dnddice.co.uk. Really great stuff. I just did a review on these. You can check them out on my Twitter or on my blog. And these guys are a really cool option that I did, I think, 2 weeks ago. And they are from Dark Silver Forge. They're also really, really cool dice. This one's been screwing me tonight, but this one's been doing pretty well.
Anybody who is not part of the Absolute Tabletop group, there were probably a dozen Oath of the Frozen King playtests done in the last month. Several of us, several people ran just straight from the kit. A couple people reskinned it. Honestly, you name the theme, and a lot of people did it. So just check those out. You can go to Absolute Tabletop official group and check that out. Just trying to think who did it. The Jarl DM, JARLDM, Lloyd, did that. I did some at the RPG Construct. You had, God, man, you had 5 or 6 guys running. It was just really cool. So, okay, everybody's back. I'll shut up.
Don't shut up, man.
No, keep talking. I gotta eat.
Well, I got popcorn too, dude. I got a bowl of popcorn. I need to eat.
Rice Krispie treat with chocolate in it.
Dude, I used to do that with Cocoa Pebbles and Fruity Pebbles when I was in college, but that was because I was hungry, if you catch my drift. I don't do that anymore.
I catch your drift.
Well, you're a college professor, right?
No, I teach high school.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am too. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's an adventure, you know?
You said history, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm even more sorry now. It's not even one of the interesting subjects.
Yep, I know. It's tough.
So are you like the teacher that everyone likes or the ones that everybody hates?
I don't know. I don't ask.
That's probably wise.
Yeah.
Listen here, you little shit. I told you, you better appreciate this. Learn about World War II.
I would say I'm getting better. Always improving.
So all you can do, man, improve the process.
Yep.
You're in Jake's area, right? Up in Michigan area?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I think I'm probably about 40-minute drive from Jake.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I keep threatening him that I'm going to come visit. But there's nothing in Michigan that I want to see. So
you know what? Grand Rapids is Beer City, USA. So, you know, you could do some brewery tours.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some really good breweries.
Cool.
Other than that,
Not much.
I don't know.
I get to see Jake.
It's a mid-sized city. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely meet up with you guys if you came.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was supposed to go to New Mexico 2 weeks ago to visit a friend, and I was going to pop in on Barker, but that wound up falling through. I was a little bit bummed. And then I found out he was like 7'8", and I felt better.
Yeah, he's a monster.
You, him, and Click, man. You guys are all huge.
Yeah, we go 6'8", 6'4", 6'4". I think me and Matt are both 6'4".
I mean, I might be 6 feet wide, but
Who is 6'8"?
Barker.
Barker.
Jesus.
Barker's a
He's huge,
tower.
man.
I
Yeah,
thought I was tall.
he's a tall
I'm like
guy.
5'11".
I'm just a shrimpy 6'2", just a little guy.
No, I'm not looking forward to Tacoma, man. There's going to be all these tall people.
Yep. I'm not sure if Matt's back, and that's fine. I will once again plug the adventure we're playing. It is The Oath of the Frozen King, an adventure kit, which is kind of somewhere between an adventure module and I don't know, and like I guess just a light setting book. It's just a toolkit really for DMs to use. Comes with locations, NPCs, story hooks, encounters, and it's modular. You can put them together how you like. It's really cool. This is a playtest version of it, and you can go access it over on Kickstarter. There's a link in the description below if you want to click on that, or you can just go to Kickstarter and search for Oath of the Frozen King. And the guys at AbTab are killing it. It's doing well, so clearly a lot of people seeing a lot of value in it. And Drake, you have used it too, and you were saying, you love it. And yeah, people should definitely check it out.
Yeah, you can reskin this kit to any setting in 15 or 20 minutes. I did it with a Fae, like in the Feywilds, and everything transfers so easily that there's literally no prep. It's just, it was very easy. Easiest thing I've ever done.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, I think we're going to jump right back into it here, guys. But let me get my bearings here. Get my place. All right. So you guys have just walked down a very narrow corridor. The smell of burning troll flesh is still fresh in your nostrils and still lingering in the area. But as you continue on, you have seen in front of you this altar in this room. The walls of this room are glassy, smooth for the most part, whereas the corridor you've been walking down has been very jagged. The walls of this room are smooth. Somehow it feels colder. You didn't think you could be any colder than you already were. But this room, there's no more wind. It is absolutely still, dead, cold. It burns your nostrils. It burns your lungs. And you see a blade, a large blade, resting on an altar. There is nothing else in this room. There is one entrance far to the right beyond. And there's these hands that look like they're made out of ice holding this blade in the altar. The blade itself is etched with all sorts of runes. It's, other than that, appears dull. It appears almost dusty. What would you like to do?
If no one else objects, I'll say, "Oh, that must be the blade." And gingerly walk. What does the room around us look like?
So the floor is ice. It's slick, but not unmanageably so. If you were just walking, you could walk gingerly enough to make it over to the altar. And the room itself, the walls are very smooth, still, uneven, roundish, but the walls, there are bigger, smooth sections, I should say. And they're almost reflective. You can see yourself a little bit as you walk in this room in the reflection.
And as you start kind of walking forward kind of towards the blade, I think Rufus would actually just extend his spear out and just kind of put it right in front of you, so it kind of hits you in the midsection or the chest. And he would just look over you and say, this is why we're here. Do you really think that they would just let us take it? There's
Probably
more.
not.
There's more here.
That is also possible. All right. I suppose we can do something else. What did you have in mind?
Ruthgar will just walk towards one of these smooth faces of ice and get really close and look at himself in the reflection. Kind of turn one face to see his normal face, turn again, and his reflection disappears as he remembers that he only has one eye. And he looks at it again, real close, and he just taps on the on the ice and tries to look inside it.
You can't see anything really. I mean, it's just blackness. Yeah, the room is still. You see no movement. You see your own reflection quite well as you're up this close.
And he'll turn back and I don't think that anybody else is here. I think it's okay. We should just get it and go. And he'll start walking over towards the altar.
Rufus would take several steps back to be as far from that blade as he possibly could, with his spear at the ready.
I just kind of lift the spear as he backs up. Yes, direct to the point. That's how I like things. And I'll kind of trail behind Ruthgar.
And Ruthgar will make his way right towards this altar and reach out. And right before grabbing it, he's going to just take a quick moment's pause and look at what's holding it to see if anything seems wrong or out of place.
In the shadow, as you examine it more closely, in the shadow of the blade, you also see on the altar itself this, can't even tell if it's stone or ice. It's grayish, this altar, but you see runes. And I've been trying to find my darn page so I can tell you. And why don't you guys all make me we'll go with a history check.
I know many things, except this.
All right, so Rufus, you walk up here and you recognize the runes a little bit. Is there anywhere you would have, how could you possibly recognize this?
Well, you said they're runes. What kind of runes? Are they dwarvish runes? Are they, what kind of runes are they?
We'll just say they're runes that were used by people of this land a long time ago. You would not recognize them as dwarvish. You would not recognize them necessarily as elvish or anything. They were used by humans of this land centuries past. Is there somewhere that you would have seen these before?
Rufus, being a bounty hunter throughout his life, he is, of course, in the latter stages of that now, long since retired. But learning languages, learning symbols was part of what made him very good at what he did. And he recalls that a tribal medicine man was once his bounty. And he remembers being in this man's hut, explaining to him that if he didn't come with him, that he would slaughter his entire family. And he remembers surrounding him were those symbols. He never turned that witch doctor in. But in return, the knowledge of his tribe was passed to Rufus. This was long ago, and one of the big reasons that he stopped being a bounty hunter.
That is awesome. Go ahead and take a point of inspiration for that. And you managed to piece it together, we'll say. Carved in the altar, in the shadow of this this sword, this blade, you read the phrase, "Cry out, water that turneth to bone."
I would, as I decipher it, I would read it out loud so all of my companions could hear me. And you would hear the wolf growl when I said that, as if something ominous. And I would look at my companions and say, what you just said. I'm sorry, I forgot. Oh, you're muted.
Cry out, water that turneth to bone.
I would look. What? Anyone?
It would be worse the other way around. Bones turning to water. That would frighten me. And then I look around. Water is ice, but I see none running. I have no idea.
As soon as you say ice, the hands holding this blade drop, and the blade spills forward with a dull thud onto the altar.
Ah! Luck and fate every day.
As this thing falls to the ground, Rufus jumps back several feet, and he's just looking around, waiting. It can't be this easy, he would say out loud.
Water turns to bone, but bone can turn to dust. You just must crush it first. If anybody objects, say now, but I feel we are leaving here with this piece one way or another, and if someone should try to stop us, well, so be it. But we can't just stand around here staring at it for days.
That is very true, my friend. Would you object to me perhaps touching it first?
Be my guest.
As you have looked around, Rufus, you noticed a shadow coming from the room to your right, moving. You hear something.
And he would turn. I don't think he would say anything to his companions, but he would turn and he would point the spear there, and you would hear the wolf again.
And thick white fog begins to creep. But it's not a wall of fog. It's tendrils of fog. It is arms of fog moving across this glassy, blackish ice toward you. And you see in the entry of this door to your right a figure. You see a sword catch a bit of light and glint. And you see tattered white robes seem to be blowing, though it is completely still in this room, blowing with the fog, these kind of bluish whitish tendrils. And as our gaze shifts up, you see a skull, eyes bright blue, a white gray tattered hood over the skull. But it is frightening. It is larger than your average person, larger than your average man. Go ahead and roll initiative, guys.
Seeing this, you would hear Rufus be like, almost like that all the wind just went out of his sails. He'll just go, shit.
All right, so we've got Ruthgar. Nope, I'm sorry. We've got Rav. Oh, man, you guys got some good rolls here. Rav, Ruthgar. There we go. I was waiting for you to come through for me there, Drake. He types it out. What a nice guy. Rav, Ruthgar, Rennick, Rufus.
I'm so sorry, guys. My phone's acting dumb.
Oh, no worries. All right. So, Ravi, what do you do?
Ravodorum sees this thing and knee-jerk reaction, he doesn't know what it is or what it's going to do. He doesn't even know if we can fight it. But he does know the one thing that he has always been able to do is protect people. And so he is going to say with a lot of fervor in his voice, "Get the sword!" And he is going to run towards this roiling fog with the skull leering at them. And he's going to try to attack it.
So, go ahead and roll.
Okay. 18 plus 5.
That is definitely a hit.
Okay. This is with his short sword in his left hand. So that's going to be 8 damage.
Mm-hmm. So I imagine you raise your blade and swing, and it raises its blade to parry, but you, the last minute change of direction sends it up and into this thing's chest. And you said 8 damage?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend one of my ki. I'll spin after the slice, and I'll stand with one knee raised off of the ground, positioning myself between it and my companions. And I'm going to take patient defense to give myself the dodge action as a bonus action.
Okay. Awesome. As you strike this thing, it staggers back a little bit, but you hear it kind of raises its blade, and a long white tendril of fog kind of seems to be following or almost pushing it up, and you hear around you all just this laugh, this it's rattling, and it's just reverberating from the walls around you. All right, next up we have Ruthgar.
Ruthgar will see this skull figure and let out a nervous laugh, trying to act tough, but you can tell that there's fear in his voice. See? Bones easy to crush. And he will again enter a rage and charge forwards, shield in front of him, axe in hand, and charge in and just try his hardest to swipe at this thing with his axe for a 23 to hit.
That does hit.
And it will do 15 damage.
You're muted.
You send this thing staggering further back into this kind of darkness, this doorway, and these tendrils of fog seem to propel it back forward and hold it from falling down as its blue eyes brighten and glow, and you continue to hear this just reverberating from the walls around you. All right, and now we go to Rennick.
Alrighty, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, perfect, finally. All right, so Rennick would see that he's kind of, you know, to the looks of Rennick on the ropes at this point, though he doesn't know, obviously, the extent of damage he's already taken. So he would try to rush up again, as he usually does, and maybe try to go for his legs and try to get him on the floor a little bit with his rapier. And 17, so got 23 on that one.
And you guys are rolling well. That hits.
All right, 8.
All right. Your blade sinks in. This is your rapier, right?
Correct.
Your blade sinks in to this thing's chest, and it doesn't feel right. I mean, it doesn't. It feels far too human, too alive. But as it sinks in, you see the eyes dim, and it kind of begins to slide off your blade. But all of a sudden, it actually just flings against the wall. These tendrils of white fog actually just seem to toss it. And it falls, crushing to the ground. The skull is crushed, broken, and you see scraggly, bright red beard and blood. And you hear out of the room in front of you. You can now see, as you've moved up into the doorway, especially those of you who have been in melee range with this person, you see a big slab of ice, and out of it you see the Frozen King rise out of the fog. And now we go to Rufus.
How far away is this guy from me since I backed away? You're muted, Nate.
He's probably about 30 feet from you and 20 feet from the guys who are up in melee range.
Well, as my bow is destroyed, I am going to, just as an action, I'm going to reach into my pocket and I'm going to get some, I'm going to pull out what looks to be, to the untrained eye, it would just look like some leaves, just some regular, just got to look one thing up real quick. And I would I would put them in my hands and I would kind of crush them up. And I would look at this thing and again, just shaking my head like, what did I get myself into? I would open my hands and I go, and the crushed up leaves would actually fly towards this creature, and they would start to swirl around him. And what I'm doing is I'm just reflavoring, casting Hunter's Mark on this guy. And as long as it's concentrated, he'll take an extra 1d6 damage whenever I hit him, and I'll have advantage on any wisdom, survival, or perception checks. But I just putting it on there for now.
Excellent.
Just from a distance, because the range is 90 feet.
Excellent. All right. That brings us back around to Rav.
So he's 20 feet away. I have an instinct that through long years I've just chosen never to ignore. And I turn on my heel and I break to kind of slide on the ice and pick up the sword that fell off of the ground.
Go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw.
Hold on a second. Let me go ahead and not cheat on this. It's going to be an 8 total.
Awesome. All right. So you hear the echo of the laughing in your head now, and it's loud, and it is beginning to mess with your mind. You are hesitating. You're holding on, but you're hesitating. You are actually going to be blinded. It's almost kind of a mental blinding. It's white for the next round until it's your turn again. And you will take 1d4 cold damage. So let's see here. That is 3 cold damage.
Halved to 1 or 2 because of my resistance.
So that would be, I don't know. How does that work?
We can round up to 2. I'm fine with that.
Sure.
Okay. So I'll stand sword in hand, and when I turn, Rufus would probably be in the best position to see. My eyes look milky and clouded, and I'm holding my hand out in front of my face, and I touch the top of the resting place where it was, and I say, oh no. But I'm going to do my best to ready myself and listen and center all of my ki just in case something comes of this. And I'm going to patient defense again in the hopes of it saving my life.
All right. Excellent. And just so you know, this sword is going to be it is a +1 to hit, and it does 2d6 damage.
Okay. And that's it for me.
All right. Next up, we have Hrothgar.
So Hrothgar looks up at this hulking figure before him and back at his new friend holding this blade. If you think you're getting this thing back, well, you'll first have to go through me. And he'll raise shield and axe and just slowly and methodically walk towards this creature, keeping eye contact the entire time, raising his axe as he gets closer. And as soon as he gets just within range, he gets a slight bit closer and looks him in the eye and swings. We're at 12.
Yeah, that will not hit. So he raises his maul, this massive maul, and your blade bounces off, deflected. And that brings us to Rinnick. So we have Rav standing there in a ready position, but blinded. And we have Ruthgar now engaged with the Frozen King, who is standing just outside of this sarcophagus in the middle of this next room.
Okay, and how far did you say they were? You said 20 feet, I think, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Would I have enough to go around him to the back of him since he's engaged with Rothgar?
You most certainly would.
Perfect. I'm going to do that and then try to hit another, at least attempt to land a blow with my rapier. All right, that's going to be a 21.
That does hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
As a 10. So I kind of quickly rush the Frozen King and just, I want to say that Rinnick would try to take him off balance. So he tries to maybe jab at his legs a little bit and then work the small of his back and just thrusting as fast as he can to kind of get his attention a little bit.
Yeah. And you feel, your blade is not doing a ton of damage here, but it's messing with him.
Yeah, just more of an annoyance.
Yep. And but the first time you make contact here, you feel this flash of cold go through you, and it seems to creep up your arm. And into your chest and up into your face, and you just feel almost like the moisture in your eyeballs and your saliva almost freezing here, and you are going to take 2 cold damage. That brings us to the Frozen King. So the Frozen King stands before Ruthgar and Rinnick at his back, and he says, "You had fun with my plaything. I will not be so much fun." And he takes to the side and he slams his maul down on the ground, and ice shatters and leaps up from his maul, and this surge of white fog seems to spread throughout, and ice also seems to shatter at each of your feet right now. And everyone go ahead and make me a dexterity save.
Do I auto fail that?
Yeah, I think you probably would. Or let's say you roll with disadvantage. You begin to feel shards of ice grasping you. So go ahead and make yours with disadvantage. The number we're going for here is a 14.
Disadvantage would be a 1, Nate. That's going to be a natural 1 for disadvantage.
Okay. Well, thank you for your honesty there. All right. So it looks like everyone failed. So essentially, you are all now at your feet, encased in ice. It's almost like these shards of ice have leapt up and they are rooting you where you are for now. All right. And I didn't really think this through. So you guys know how this works probably better than me because I'm just not rulesy. So he gets multi-attack, but he just cast a spell. So I don't think he gets to cast a spell and attack, does he?
Most of the time, no.
Okay.
Yeah, usually no. But you're the DM.
Yep, let's go with no. All right. We are up to Rufus.
So having no ranged weapon at this point and being 30 feet away, he's going to take his spear and he's going to kind of loft it up and get it so he can hold it kind of like a javelin. And if you'll allow it, I'm going to attempt to make a ranged attack with this spear. I'm just kind of mutter some words, and you're going to see the spear kind of glow, but nothing's going to happen yet. But I'm going to try to make a ranged attack to hit him with this. Will you allow it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Ooh, it's going to be a 21 to hit.
Excellent. That hits.
Okay. So as you do, I imagine that this thing sinks into his chest. And as you do, the spear starts to glow. And when that spear starts to glow, roots begin to spring out from that spear. Because this is ice. There's nothing coming up from the ground. But roots begin to entangle his legs and his feet. And he too becomes restrained. He needs to make a DC 14 strength check. But as those roots begin to kind of envelop him and try to, I'm casting ensnaring strike, by the way, with this. You'll hear Rufus say audibly for everybody here, "You're not the only one with tricks, bitch."
And he laughs at that. This raspy laugh that seems to bite like the cold bites your face. And he rolled a 2 plus he gets a 5, so he fails that save.
So he is going to be 1 second. Yeah, so he is going to be restrained.
All right, excellent. Next up, we are to Rav.
So, am I still blind for this turn, or was it just the previous turn when I picked the sword up?
So basically, yeah, it was the previous turn. So you were really not, you did your move and then touched it, and now so you didn't really, you could have taken a blinded action, I suppose, but you were blinded for that action. So
I took the dodge action.
Yeah. So yeah, now you are able to see. Once again, you see that your vision slowly fading back. The sword has sort of a hum to you, but yeah, you are able to hold on to it. It's very, very cold.
Seems I'm the perfect person to pick it up then. The ice at my feet. Do I think that I can squat down in place and smash it off of my legs?
You can absolutely try that. Yep.
All right, would you like a strength check or an attack roll?
Let's do a strength check.
I can certainly try. So it's a 15 plus 1, 16 total.
You are able to break free this ice. I would say probably, yeah, you're able to break free the ice. That is your action. And so you just shatter it. The splinters, you see the ground at your feet sort of almost wanting to shoot up more ice, but not being able to muster enough to re-grasp your feet and your ankles. And now you have a move still if you would like.
I'm going to move to where I'm standing between Rufus and the Frozen King. And I can't take the time to help Rufus in any other way, but I'll reach to my side and pull a pouch that is filled with darts off and toss it on the ground. And that's going to be the end of my turn.
Excellent. All right. And now we go to Ruthgar.
So being face to face with this frozen king, Ruthgar doesn't even notice really that his feet are encased in ice. He's used to having cold feet and the chill of ice, and he's staring into these dead blue eyes, and he can think of nothing else to do other than to try to use all of his strength to slam into this frozen king with his axe. And I'm right in assuming this is a roll with advantage because he's restrained?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would go with that. Yep.
So that is going to be a 23 to hit.
That definitely hits.
And it will do 9 damage.
All right. As you strike, you too feel the same cold that Rufus felt just travel up your arms and into your body. It's biting, and it's reverberating between a sharp bite and just a dull ache. And you take 3 cold damage. All right, next up we have Rennick.
All right. And you said we had advantage on this roll, correct? For the attackers?
Yes, I believe all attacks against him have advantage until he is not restrained.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm going to go ahead and try to attack him again from the back since I'm still there. Natural 20. Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, go ahead and roll your damage, add your modifiers, and double it all.
That's going to be a 14.
All right. And
Still.
you also will take 4 cold damage now as you feel this ice traveling through your body.
And then is there a way I could just, after striking him, just kind of back up a bit and distance myself from him?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that he is probably still facing Ruthgar, so you could probably do that without provoking an opportunity attack.
Perfect. I'm going to back up about 30 feet.
Didn't he get grabbed by ice?
Oh, did I?
Yeah, didn't we all fail the save?
Yeah. I thought
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. No, we did fail that save.
Yeah, so I think that you could probably try to break free of the ice on this turn with a strength check, but you would not be able to move in addition.
Okay, I'll just do a strength check and see if I can. Nope. Roll the 1. Well, stuck there.
All right. Yep, you are stuck good. All right, and now we go to the Frozen King himself. Finally, will his maul make purchase with one of you? He is going to swing at Ruthgar.
Remember, he is restrained.
Yes. So he is not just his feet, like you guys.
Well, it would be the he would be restrained. If you look at restrained in the condition, it'll
rolls
tell
with
you about his attacks.
Yeah, so he rolls with disadvantage, and attacks against him have advantage, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So disadvantage here as he raises his giant maul, and he got a 3 and a 19. So we're going with that 3. It is 7 to hit, which misses. So yeah, he is just, I don't know, how on earth could he miss you? You're right in front of him. It's these tangling roots that are grabbing at him and sending the blade, or the giant maul off target at the last minute. Now we go to Rufus.
First thing he's going to do is see if he can break these things on his feet. So what do I need to roll from a strength check?
You got to get a 14.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That was a 3. So he is still stuck. Can he reach those darts that Ravi laid down, can I reach him from where I am?
I don't know. That's what do you think, Rav?
Let's see. What do I think, Dice? No.
Okay. Well, then at this
Just
point,
a little. It's perfectly in a position like 10 feet from you, between you and the king. But if I were to go any further back, I wouldn't be able to reach him.
okay.
So you know what? One thing I did forget, and I'm going to have to retcon a little bit. He does have to succeed on a concentration check to maintain the spell, and I forgot to do that for him. So you might be free. Let me check. And we'll say he rolls with disadvantage since he's entangled. We'll just go with that. But he did roll 2 17s, so you are still stuck.
Then I will send my wolf to go get the darts and try to bring them back to me for the next round.
Excellent.
So then
Yeah.
I'm just frozen.
Yep. All right. And then we go to, I believe that is Rav now.
I'm going to heft this huge frigid blade in one hand and know that I'm going to have to get in there. There's no way that I can protect either of these two if I don't put my life on the line like they are. And so I bolt just as fast as I can without losing my footing on the ice. And when I get there, I can imagine Rennick is at his back, Ruthgar is at his front, and I just slam into his side. And I'm going to do everything I can to swing this sword with one attack, and then we're going to go from there.
Excellent.
That's going to be a natural 20
Oh, man.
on this guy. He's
That
been
is
doing
awesome.
me right today. So that's going to be 2d6, you said, plus 1 additional for magic.
Yep. So
With
no,
this sword?
the +1 to hit. So
Plus 1 to hit. Gotcha.
you didn't need that one.
Gotcha. So 6, 12, 14, 17 total damage on the crit.
All right. Excellent.
And then I'm going to bonus action Flurry of Blows if he's still standing.
Yeah.
All right.
He is.
This is going to give me 2 additional unarmed attacks. I'm going to roll them both at the same time. That is a 22 on one and a 12 on the other.
The 22 hits.
All right. That's going to be 6 damage with that punch.
All right. Yeah, so he is at this point leaning back against the sarcophagus from which he had risen, and he is entangled in roots, and he has just been bashed. You see the light in his chest flicker a little bit, but he kind of looks back at you, and this icy mist comes from his mouth, and you are going to take 3 cold damage as this mist extends and seems to wrap around you.
Is that already halved, or do I have it?
So you take 3 cold damage. What was the question?
Do I have that with my resistance, or did you already have it?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did not have it. So yeah, you can go ahead and take 1 this time.
Okay. And I know some monsters, is it per hit, or is it just once?
It is per hit.
Okay, so I did hit him twice. So that'd be 6 total?
Yeah, probably.
All right, 6 total, have it down to 3. Sound good?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. No, I appreciate you mentioning that. All right. Next up, we have Ruthgar.
So Ruthgar sees this glowing light kind of pulsating in the king's chest fade in and out and come back, and he decides to raise his axe up in the air, catch it, holding it so that the points of the 2 blades are pointed towards the king, and he's going to try to slam those points into the king's chest. 18 to hit.
That does hit.
And it will do 13 damage.
All right. And as you do this, you do take 4 cold damage. Okay, so that was 13 damage. JB did 25 damage. Sorry, I forgot to write that down, so I asked him for that. All right. I'm terrible at math, guys. Give me a moment.
41. I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right. So now we go to Rinnick.
Too many R's.
Just enough. The perfect amount of R's.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and try again just to see if I can take him down with that rapier. I'm going to do a sneak attack on this one as well, though. So for that extra 1d6.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I was just reminded about that. Oh, I got 16.
Unfortunately, that does not hit.
Can I roll a strength check to try to break the ice?
Sure, you can do that.
Perfect. Oh, 6 again.
All right. So yes, you are still encased up to your ankles in ice here. And next it is the Frozen King's turn. The Frozen King still has a disadvantage, I assume, Drake?
Yeah, but he can try to break out of it every turn.
Yep, so I think that he would probably do that, seeing that he did not have much success on his last attack, and he's feeling rather surrounded and battered here. So he's going to have to make a strength check against your spell save DC, I assume?
Yep, 14.
Okay, 14, and he rolled a 4 plus 3 is a 7, so he does not make it. And yeah, and so does that count as his action?
No.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't think trying to break it. If there's somebody standing next to him, I'm sure even restrained, he could try something.
Okay. Yep. So he is going to once again try to swing at Ruthgar. Actually, no, he's swinging at Rav, because Rav is the one who just pummeled him. All right. And dang, the first time I rolled so good. Okay. Nope, he misses. So yes, the mall again is just kind of being pulled by these vines. I imagine they're actually leaping out onto the heft of the thing, and not letting him hit his target.
Never thought a snaring strike would work that good.
Yeah, it's pulling its weight. In super fairness, does he have 2 attacks or 3 for his multi?
Well, he has 2 attacks, and yeah. So, yep, he misses.
All right.
Okay. Rufus is going to try to break out of that ice again. See what he can. It's going to be a 16.
That breaks it.
Okay. With that, once he breaks out, I want to see, and maybe I can, again, Nate, if you'll allow this, just trying to reflavor this. He's a nimble little halfling, and his spear is stuck into this thing's chest. I want my spear back. I want to try to climb onto the shoulders of the Frozen King and take my spear back. What would I need to roll for that, buddy?
Yeah. So let's go with, oh man, I'm open to your input on that. I'm thinking maybe a dexterity check just to kind of climb.
I'd say probably acrobatics.
Yeah, that's good. Go for it.
Okay. So,
and we'll say you got to roll a 13.
Hold on. Wait.
Wait for
Let me
it.
see it.
Hey.
Nice.
There you go.
Love it.
So that is a natural 20.
Okay.
So I would think that just more graceful and more, it's just smooth. He just kind of skitters up on top, and as he climbs up this thing, he grabs the spear, and he's standing on his shoulders, like his head between his legs, and he's going to take this spear and try to jam it down into like right behind his head, like into his spine.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine, like, since you rolled a 20 on that, like, I imagine these vines are actually like helping you, like they can read your mind almost, and they're just like lifting and just moving into the right place and just kind of aiding your strike here. So you can go ahead and roll.
Okay. Oh my God. 2.
All right.
So I miss.
Yeah. So his thick armor, it just kind of glances off his thick pauldrons as you strike, and he just kind of shrugs a little bit, but you hold on. All right. Next up, we are to Rav.
So I'm standing here. I just got 2 big hits on this creature. And then out of the shimmery, kind of clouded mist that fills this place, I just see Rufus run up him, climbing these vines all the way to the top of him and jamming the spear down, but it glances off. I know that all of us are in this, that we're going to have to do it or die. And so I'm going to go with everything I've got. I'm going to attack, and then if he's still standing, flurry of blows, and try to finish this guy off. So, attack for the sword. 18, 13 plus 5.
And 18 is a hit.
All right, 2d6. It's going to be 8 damage.
All right. You hit, but you will take 4 cold damage.
Okay, I'll have that down to 2. And then flurry of blows. I'll make those 2 additional unarmed strikes. All right, one is an 18, and the other is a 16.
The 18 does hit.
All right. Max. It's going to be 7 additional damage.
All right. So 8 the first time, 7, and okay. Excellent.
What's the cold on that hit?
That is another 4, so you'd have it to 2.
All right. And I'll say, come on, we can do this.
And you're starting to see the walls of this cavern shimmer a little bit. Pieces of ice are beginning to fall. You see the Frozen King motioning to some bones in a corner, but nothing's happening. And we are now up to Ruthgar.
I grow tired of this. My patience is wearing. And again, he's going to try to slam his axe into the king's chest. And that will be a 24 to hit. Doing 9 damage.
Excellent. All right. And you will take, man, I keep rolling 4s on my D4, guys. 4 cold damage. I got a dice tower and everything.
Sorry, Nate, just so you know too, I'm having this as well because of my rage resistance. So
awesome. Yep. Do your thing. All right. Next up, we have Rinnick.
If I miss again, I'll be very upset. I'm going to try again for the advantage on the attack. And we'll see what happens. 11 was the highest I got with that.
Bummer.
So do you mind if I roll another strength check to try to break out of these?
Go for it. Yep.
Damn ice strengths. All right, what do we got here? I got a 5. I'm sorry. Nope. 14. That's what I got.
Okay. I think that I said that 14 was what you needed. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you managed to break your feet free of this ice.
All right. Cool.
And
I think that's it for me.
yep. And now it is the Frozen King's turn. So the Frozen King is going to. I think some of you are still restrained, right? He's got to maintain his spell here, but he's rolling with disadvantage. Last time I rolled 2 17s. This time I rolled 2 18s. So he, if any of you are still ensnared in this ice,
I think it's just me. I'm
okay.
sure.
Yep. Then
Ruthgar's not even bothering to try because he's close enough to this guy.
Yep. He is rooted in a advantageous position to wallop on him. So next up, he is going to try to break free. And he rolled a 13. Drake, what did he need to beat your spell save? 14? Okay. So he is
14.
still restrained, and he will once again attack Rav this time. With disadvantage, he rolls a 16.
Meets. Hits.
Okay, and here comes our first maul damage as he brings it swinging around for a walloping. What is this? That is going to be 8 damage. So I imagine this must be a glancing blow if it's only doing that much.
It is a glancing blow, but like ice falling onto the side of a mountain, I am very hurt.
Gotcha. Yep. All right. And his eyes kind of flash. You see almost a white flash to them as he connects with you. And you hear this kind of guttural that turns raspy. All right. And next up we have Rufus. Who I think might still be on his back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still standing on his shoulders. So I think with the spear, I'm gonna try to go down again, and try to stab him with the spear. That's gonna miss though. But along with that though, I am going to, because I forgot the last few rounds, I'm going to send the wolf in to attack it as well.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a 17 to hit on the wolf.
That does not hit. The 18 is the number you need.
Okay. So I do nothing.
All right. So yeah, I imagine he kind of, gives this wolf a chunk of his leg armor and it doesn't manage to latch on. And let's go back up to Rav now.
Okay. So this is the last round I can go all out. So let's see. He's still restrained, so I still have advantage, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So sword attack. 20 non-natural.
That hits.
Okay. And watch me be done with my math. 9 points of slashing damage.
All right.
Go ahead and roll the ice damage for me. It may knock me unconscious.
That is a 1, and we can't have it, so we'll just go with a 1.
Sounds like a plan to me. Flurry of blows. First punch, last key point. 16 is going to miss. Second punch, 15 is going to miss. That's all I got, folks.
All right. So yeah, your punches deflect off of him, and he continues on.
For some reason, this sword, being blisteringly cold in my hand, feels like an extension of me. The times in my clan and in my clutch when we would settle arguments by blasting freezing wind on each other. It just feels right to have it, and I keep jamming it straight through the armor over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right, let's go to Ruthgar.
All right, Ruthgar again is going to yet let out a bear-like growl and swing at the Frozen King. And he is going to miss. And you're going to hear him make a little whimper after his growl.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. All right. Next up, we have Rennick.
Let's try this again. Since I'm free, I can always back away. But let's try for that last hit. And I have got a unnatural 20, so we'll go ahead and I can do the sneak attacks too, correct? The 2d6?
Absolutely.
You should be rolling a d8 and 2d6.
Yep. I'm right here. That was anticlimactic. 12, then plus 3, so 15.
All right. Yeah. So you are dealing a significant amount of damage to him. I imagine that one of these blows pierces the back of his rib cage as he is, and it kind of strikes this glowing orb and pierces it. But he is, and it flashes for a moment, but he is still up, still angry, and it is now his turn. So he is going to try to break. Okay, so I got a bunch of rolls here. Concentration. He rolls a 1, so he absolutely fails that, and the ice now frees Hrothgar for what it's worth. For his trying to break free, he rolls a. He does not break free, and for his attack this time with disadvantage on Hrothgar, he rolls a natural 1. With disadvantage.
So Nate, he attacked Hrothgar instead of me. I am going to use the Sentinel feat to attack him in turn.
Excellent.
When in melee with a creature and it attacks someone other than me, I can use my reaction to make a melee attack.
Excellent. And I imagine because he rolls a natural 1 here, the vines have actually gotten to the point where he has dropped the maul with one hand and he's just holding on to the very far end of it. But now you go ahead, JB.
That is a 15 plus 5.
That hits.
Oh. The sword. I don't even think I've pulled it out of his armor yet. 12 points of slashing damage.
Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah. So he is, you once again see this orb flash. It crackles, actually. It crackles in his chest, but it sends a bite up your arm for a whopping 1 cold damage.
The walls are starting to kind of tilt in my vision, and everything's starting to get very hazy.
It's because you're hitting so dang much that you keep getting just a little bit.
Chipping away at me.
Yep. That cold is, I imagine that actually your anyone looking at you would see some of your scales starting to turn black like frostbite from this cold as it's just taking hold of you. But yeah, we are moving on. So that was a reaction, correct?
Yes.
So now we're up to Rufus.
So the last 3 rounds that he's been restrained, we haven't rolled the 1d6 piercing damage for him on it. Just keep that in mind. I am going to, again, since I'm still wobbling on his shoulders, I'm going to try to jam this thing in the front now, almost just trying to jam this spear down through his chest, like down through that orb, through that heart. And since he's restrained, I'll get advantage. That's going to be a 21 to hit.
That is a hit.
All right. And I'm just going to put, being the polearm master, I get an extra 1d4 for the butt end, but I'm just going to put all the damage together as I just kind of jump off of his shoulders just up high and just jam this spear down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be 12 piercing damage as this spear goes down through the front part of his chest and hopefully trying to get his heart.
Yeah. So as you pierce his chest, not only does it flicker a little bit and crackle up your arms for 1 cold damage, but it also sends out this puff of this whitish fog. And the fog itself is almost electric, crackling. And the Frozen King falls to his knees, one hand on his maul. And you hear, as he is on his knees, the laughing noise that you heard before, except it doesn't sound so much like laughing. It's coming from the walls around you. And it actually is almost sobbing. And it's hissing in your ears, and it's loud. And as he falls face down to the ground, you would hear coming from these walls the oath which everyone in Leith knows. And I'm trying to find it in my dang page right now. And Drake probably has it memorized here.
I would never step on your toes like that, boss.
Here we go.
The laughing still continues while you look for it.
Yes, and the yes, it's I found it. Varnholm is mine in life. It shall remain mine in death. I shall return and restore glory to my kingdom. Then you will know the coldest winter, and then you will know. And the light fades from his chest. You guys have the blade. The Frozen King lies dead at your feet. This room is beginning to crumble. The ice around it, the floor shaking. What do you do?
Get the fuck out.
Ruthgar will quickly kick over the Frozen King so that he's face up, reach down and break his rib cage open and see if in his chest is some remnant of this glowing light.
You see nothing. It's empty. It was some sort of undead magical energy, nothing more. The very heart, the oath itself was embodied in this orb with the aid of his of very powerful magic users that were a part of his high council. But it's gone now.
So he looks up and says to his friends, "Take the blade. That is all we need. We should go."
And Rufus would absolutely head out as quickly as possible. But as he was doing so, you would see his wolf go over to the Frozen King, kind of smell around, and he would latch onto the femur, and he would just shake it loose and run out with the king's femur bone in his mouth out of the cave behind me.
I love that. Oh my God. So you guys have defeated the Frozen King. I imagine you want to hightail out of here.
I am going to do everything in my power with my extra speed to try and grab who I believe to be Siegfried's body and carry him out of this place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say that you could do so. The floor is slick enough that it's not, there's not much friction there, and you're able to drag him fairly quickly, maybe by one of his straps or something, his armor straps that's loose, or by his cloak even, and you take him out. And as the cavern, each cavern you all run through is crumbling, shimmering, and you continue on out of here, and you continue out into sunshine. The light shines, the clouds have cleared outside. The bridge is still there, but it's beginning to show some fissures as you cross it, but you make it across safely, and better days are ahead for you four.
I would like to, when we cross the bridge, I lay Siegfried's body there, and I raise up my right arm and look down at him and say, I met Siegfried, and I will take him home. And then kind of wipe my face.
And I think that's a great place to end it, right there.
Damn good game. Damn good game.
Good
That
game,
was fun.
guys.
Davey, that was perfect, man. You can
Thank
have a
you.
point of inspiration that you'll never use.
I'll take it to my game tomorrow and maybe
Yeah.
my team let me use it.
When you raised your hand, I was like, oh, is he going to say it? Yeah, he said it. Beautiful. Oh, guys, thank you. That was awesome. Thanks for your patience with my, getting back in the groove of things here and keeping track of things. Yeah, it's been a while. And I'm also, my home group is like level 1, level 2, and we're just kind of, still fighting goblins. So this was a challenge for me to run the Frozen King, but man, it was awesome. I'll just say, and I'll give you guys a word before we jet out too, but I'll just remind everyone that if you like the flavor of this thing, there's so much more you can do with it with the Oath of the Frozen King adventure kit. The link to the Kickstarter, once again, is down below. I will also remind you that the links to blogs and YouTube channels for 3 of these guys is down in the description below too. So you can go and support what they're doing too. They're doing great things for the RPG community. And yeah, if you guys have anything else you want to say, sign us off here. Go for it.
With
First off.
one remaining hit point, Ravodoran managed to escape the frozen tube.
That's awesome.
I'll go ahead and do my quick outro. Sorry to interrupt you, man. I love this game. Nate is a fantastic guy. His reviews are almost as good as my own. If they were written, they'd probably be better. But I absolutely love Absolute Tabletop, and this thing has been fantastic. I've read some of it. It's been exceptional, every little bit that I've seen, and playing it, it's even better. So definitely check that out. And you can find me at Drop the Die on Twitter. I have links to absolutely everything, and I'm always happy to talk.
Cool. How about Matt?
Well, first I want to say thanks for the invite. Obviously, I am a newer player, so I do appreciate the invite. Also, thanks for allowing me to come in, even though I was stuck in traffic on the way home, and then the technical difficulties in-game with my mic and my speakers not working for, about 10 minutes overall. So thanks for the fun game and the invite, and hope we can do it again. That was real fun. It's great to watch, people who play a lot actually play and participate.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining, Matt. And yeah, you had perfect timing. You hardly missed a thing. So it was good. Why don't we go to Jeremy?
Well, first of all, cheers, Nate. Thanks for hosting the game. I'm glad to finally sit at your virtual table, so to speak. And thanks to the guys at Absolute Tabletop. For anyone who doesn't know them, go check them out. They have brought a lot of joy to my homebrew home game. I've made a lot of use out of their stuff, and I plan on making use out of this module at some point. And for anyone watching that has a home real life tabletop game and wants to build some cool stuff for it, check out my channel Black Magic Craft. Show you how to build all sorts of cool things. And I do not doubt that by the time Oath drops, I'll be making some frozen ice tiles for you guys. So cheers. Good night, everybody.
Awesome. And Drake.
Hey guys, Nate, this is my 4th Oath of the Frozen King game that I've been a part of. I think you stayed more true than anybody any game that I've been a part of to what's in there. You didn't reflavor too much of it, so this was the pure Oath of the Frozen King, which was really cool. I don't like rules, so I spin things. But no, it was really enjoyable. Had a great time with everybody. I'm just like everyone said, the AbTab stuff. It's kind of my home. I run way too many games for everybody, but I can finally say that I have played a game or GM'd for every one of the original Provokers, and that is something I can chalk off my list tonight. So that's really good. But no, man, I had a blast. Again, check me out on the RPG Construct and on iTunes or Podbean. I do a podcast with Jake Norman called Something RPG-ish. So go check that out. We got a lot of good content.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. I will end by saying, JB, you had 1 hit point left, and I will also say that when Rufus took that last blow that killed the Frozen King, he also had 1 hit point left. So, yeah, it was the hit before was a squeaker. But anyway, this was awesome. Thank you guys so much for playing. You guys knocked it out of the park. So couldn't ask for a better group. And yeah, everyone have a great night. Happy gaming, everybody. And I'm sure you'll see us all around soon. Signing off.